Imagine this. Your bulldog is standing completely still, breathing slow but heavy, his face unreadable, his tail barely moving. Most people might shrug and think, he's just chill. But what if I told you, your bulldog is actually speaking to, in a coded language made of posture, tension, and subtle expressions that most humans completely miss? A language so ancient and instinctive that it's been guiding your bulldog's emotions and reactions silently all this time. This is not just body language. This is a secret code that only a few truly understand. And once you learn to read it, your bond with your bulldog will never be the same again. Stick with me. The signs are hidden in plain sight, and one of them might just blow your mind. Let's start with the eyes. And yes, even with all the adorable wrinkles, a bulldog's eyes are deep communicators. Bulldogs are masters at the side-eye glance. When you catch them looking up at you from under those folds, that's not just cuteness. It's a signal. A long, slow blink from your bulldog? That's trust. A hard stare with stiff posture. That's discomfort or uncertainty. And when the whites of their eyes show, whale eye. Your bulldog is telling you they're uneasy or threatened. These dogs don't bark much. Instead, they speak in silence, and their eyes are often the loudest voice in the room if you know how to listen. Now let's decode the ears. Yes, even those tiny rose or bat ears. Bulldogs have small ears, but their movement still holds meaning. Ears slightly tilted back usually show calm submission or friendliness, but if they flatten completely against the skull during grooming or a vet visit, that's fear or tension. Watch how their ears respond to sudden sounds. If they flick back and forth quickly, it means your bulldog is processing stress or overstimulation. With bulldogs, those ears won't move dramatically, so it's all about subtlety, and when paired with eye signals and breathing patterns, they form a trifecta of unspoken emotion. The tail, or what little there is of it, holds secrets too. Bulldogs don't have long tails to wag expressively, but they still communicate with the stump. A fast vibrating wiggle of the tail stub, that's joy. A slow, stiff movement or no movement at all during a new experience, that's caution. One of the biggest myths is thinking a still tail means nothing. For a bulldog, stillness is communication, especially when their body is also stiff. When you start noticing when the tail doesn't move, you will help begin to understand what your bulldog is in town saying, and that's where the real message is. Let's stop for a second and ask, why is this even important? Why read into every wrinkle and shuffle? Because the bulldog is a nonverbal communicator by nature, bred for companionship, not work. Bulldogs use body language more than sound. They rarely bark unless something's serious, so every glance, lean, or sigh is part of the code. Think of it this way. Your bulldog has been learning how you act from the moment you brought them home. Isn't it time you learn to read them with the same attention? Now onto posture. Bulldogs have a unique heavy-set body, which makes their movements more deliberate. So when a bulldog suddenly freezes, lowers their body, or turns slightly sideways, it's not random. These are calculated gestures. A slight lean into your leg, affection, turning their back while still watching you from the side. It's trust and testing boundaries. And when they spread their legs, lower their head, and look up slowly, they're submitting gently. But be careful. If that same pose is stiff, with a rigid tail and no eye contact, it could be defensive fear, not friendliness. Context is everything. You must learn to see beyond the cuteness into the message. Let's look at one gesture that most bulldog owners misunderstand, the paw lift. Bulldogs aren't very agile, so when they raise a paw slowly and hold it in the air, it's a big deal. That's often hesitation, uncertainty, or attention seeking. Sometimes it means I don't know what to do next. Other times, it's a soft request for contact. Many bulldogs will place a paw gently on your foot or leg, not as a command, but as a gesture of inclusion. In their own quiet way, they're saying, I choose you. Most people think it's random, but once you know the code, it's a tiny declaration of love. Here's one that will surprise you. Bulldog yawns. No, they're not tired, at least not always. Bulldogs yawn when they're stressed, when they're trying to avoid conflict, or when they're overwhelmed. Picture this, you're trimming their nails and they start yawning. That's not sleepiness, it's your bulldog trying to calm himself down. A yawn during training? That's tension. And if they yawn, then look away. Then look back slowly. That's them asking for space without saying a word. When you learn to respect this signal, your bulldog will trust you more because now you're finally hearing them. Let's decode two real-world examples to bring this all together. First, you're at the vet. Your bulldog sits perfectly still, no growling, no barking, but their eyes are wide, ears pinned slightly, and the tail is motionless. Most people would think, wow, so well behaved. But the truth? That bulldog is terrified. Their silence is not peace, it's suppressed panic. That's how they freeze in fear. Recognizing this lets you comfort them correctly. Not by over-petting, but by removing pressure. Second example, you're watching TV. Your bulldog suddenly gets up, leans their entire body against your leg, sighs deeply, and closes their eyes. That's not just comfort, that's devotion. That's you are my safe place. Most owners miss the beauty of that moment, but now you won't. And why don't more people talk about this? Why isn't this silent language part of every bulldog guide? That's the mystery. Bulldogs are often labeled as stubborn or lazy, but they're neither. They're subtle, emotional, profoundly expressive in a quiet way. You just need to stop talking and start watching, because the moment you learn the secret code behind your bulldog's body language, everything changes. You won't just be their owner. You'll become their trusted interpreter, their guardian, their partner. Now, before we close, there's one final code I want to leave you with. The bulldog lean. When your bulldog presses their body weight against you, slowly and deliberately, they're saying one of the most powerful things a dog can say without barking. You make me feel safe. That lean is trust in physical form. It's loyalty made visible. And in that simple act, your bulldog is telling you everything, with no words at all. If this helped you understand your bulldog in a new way, share it with another bulldog lover, someone who might need help hearing what their wrinkly friend has been trying to say for years. And don't forget, in the pinned comment, there's something special for people who want to deepen that bond even more. Because learning to speak bulldog, that's not training, that's true connection.